Hey everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel here. As you can see, a little bit of a different background than you may have seen recently. I am back at school here in California, and I just wanted to sit down here and have a little bit of a talk, as I usually do with these sit-down videos. More recently, during these videos, I've tried to shift from, in the past, I have done these videos with some notes and note cards, talking points that I wanted to touch on. And as I've kind of gone on, and specifically recently, the last couple of weeks, I've really tried to work on just speaking here off the cuff, spontaneously speaking, no notes, no rehearsal, no practice, no talking points, cliff notes, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to be speaking spontaneously, off the cuff, about whatever I want to talk about for the day. And I've done this recently, the last couple of weeks, because public speaking and specifically spontaneously speaking about something without any rehearsal has always been a big struggle for me. And through these videos, through this YouTube channel, and through the last couple of weeks, I have really made it apparent in an effort of mine to strengthen those skills and become a better speaker, and specifically spontaneous speaker. Now, for these topics that I am choosing to talk about, I am choosing topics that I do think I can speak about for quite a bit of time, uninterrupted, with no pauses or mistakes or breaks or anything. So without further ado, I'd like to get into today's topic, which I want to talk about here. And that is, if you look at things differently, the things you look at change. Now, I've seen that quote before. I'm not sure if you have as well. You guys have. It's a pretty popular quote. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's a quote that I really like and really think is important and something that we can look to implement into our lives and shift and change how we approach every single situation that we are presented with in life. And when you look at the quote and you think about the quote, it doesn't take a genius to determine that it's talking about your perspective. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now, all of us in our lives are going to be dealt a difficult hand. We're going to be presented with an obstacle, presented with something or someone in our way, and it's a challenge, but we have to get past it. We have to get over it. We have to get through it. And I think what separates the really strong people with the somewhat weaker people, I'm going to say, maybe there's a better way of saying that, but it's all about perspective. Two people can be dealt the same hand, the same difficult hand. They could both be presented with a difficult, annoying, frustrating, upsetting situation that could just be thrown onto them, seemingly feeling very unfair. But what can separate those two people and create a night and day difference is how you approach the situation. One person can look at this situation, this difficult hand that they've been dealt, this obstacle that's in their way, and they can shrink. They can complain, get upset, whine, make excuses for why they can't do something, and overall let that obstacle or situation take control over their life. Or you could be like the other person, and you could look at this obstacle, this difficult hand, tough situation that they've been dealt with, and take a deep breath and look at it as a learning experience. Look at it as a way to grow. That isn't saying rather that they shouldn't care about the situation. They shouldn't not care about the situation, or they shouldn't be allowed to be somewhat frustrated or annoyed about the situation. But the truth is, what separates those two types of people is one person's going to whine and they're going to make excuses and they're going to let that whole situation or obstacle control their life for the foreseeable future. But the other person, the more open-minded, the more growth-minded person, I should say, they're going to see this obstacle and they're going to be frustrated. They're going to be upset, but they're only going to be upset for a couple minutes, a short amount of time. They're going to get all their anger or frustration out, and then they're going to be like, hey, how can I learn from this situation? What can I take from this? How can I learn a lesson from this situation and apply it to other aspects in my life? What can I learn from this difficult situation, this difficult hand right now, and apply in the future when I'm also dealt with a tough situation or difficult hand? Two of the same situations for two different people, yet there's two completely different outcomes. And this all ties back to the quote that I talked about from the beginning. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now, let's say, for example, this thing that we're looking at is an obstacle, a barrier, something blocking us from doing what we need to do or what we want to do or what we want to accomplish. If you change the way that you look at this challenge, you go from looking at it as a roadblock, a stop sign, something that you can't get past, or something that is going to just stop you in your tracks. You shift from thinking of it as something like that, and you look at it as a puzzle almost like a mystery that is supposed to be solved because it's meant to be solved. And once you solve that mystery or you complete that puzzle, you learn something. You learn something really important about how to deal with situations just like this. And by changing how you look at these challenges, by looking at it from more of a growth mindset, more of a way to learn, a way to better yourself, a way to improve, it really changes the challenge itself. It belittles it. It makes the challenge seem, or the obstacle seem, less meaningful, less powerful, less life-altering or life-changing or life-impacting in a way. And because of that, the challenge, the obstacle, at the end of the day, it's not going to affect your life as much. It's not going to stop you from doing what you really want to do. It's not going to stop you from achieving what you really want to achieve. And it's all by just a quick shift in perspective. It doesn't take a lot. It just takes acknowledging that you've been dealt a difficult hand. You've been thrown into a tough situation, but that's okay. And it's okay to be annoyed. It's okay to be frustrated, but you have to move on and you have to shift your perspective quickly and look at it as a way to grow, a way to learn, and a way to better yourself and better your understanding of all the challenges and struggles and problems that you're going to encounter in your life, because everybody encounters all those things. I have, you have, I'm going to continue to, you're going to continue to. And by just changing your perspective and looking at things through a growth mindset, it's going to greatly impact how you approach every single situation going forward in your life. And it doesn't take a lot. Like I said, it just takes acknowledging that you've been dealt a difficult hand and consciously making an effort to shift your perspective and look at it through a positive lens. This is something that I've been trying to implement into my life as of lately, and I'm going to try to continue to as I go forward. And this is a big goal of mine for 2026, to really approach situations more optimistic and more open and more understanding and open to interpretation and open to seeing these situations as lessons and ways to learn instead of a reason or excuse to express my frustration or get upset or whine or whatever. So that's something I'm going to be working on. I hope this video helps some of you. I hope maybe you could resonate with this and maybe you will go on to implement this into your life going forward. But with all that being said, I really hope you all enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed making it, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon.